Mr Yiannopoulos, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yiannopoulos.
Yiannopoulos.
But it's okay.
Thank you. You outlined a series of measures that the department is taking to ensure that procedures are followed and records are properly kept. Yet you said, and this is a quote from the inquiry, I would be reluctant to guarantee, this is on the 20th of November 2023, page 8, I would be reluctant to guarantee that record keeping is fixed. What I can do is update the policy and update the learning, end of quote. I would think that it is you and your department's responsibility to guarantee this does happen. While I take your point from your previous evidence that it's not easy to guarantee perfect performance across 100,000 people involved in the process, it's ultimately your job to make sure things run properly and that such a bureaucratic mess does not happen again. Why won't you guarantee that the next time the government enters a $45 billion contract acquisition, records will be properly kept, an assessment of value for money will be made and proper processes followed?
Well, Senator, I'm happy to guarantee the next $45 billion project that a government will consider, we will ensure there is effective record keeping. And indeed we are across all of our major projects. But what I was asked at that inquiry was to guarantee that there would be no further instances of record keeping issues. And I just cannot do that. As much as I can update policy, train 23,000 people in new e-learning and record-keeping practices. We are a large organisation with a lot of staff that join us each year, and so it would be silly of me to guarantee that it will see no recurrence.
So who's going to be held accountable for the mess of the Hunter Frigate program?
Nobody.
Minister, will the government scrap the Hunter Frigate program, as One Nation has called for, and arm our Navy with ready-made mature solutions that are already in the water? Is the government committed to delivering all 9 Hunter frigates under the current plans? And do you have no plan? That'll do for now, that question.
Okay. I think, Senator, we've spoken this morning about the review of the surface fleet. I think that, I'm not sure if you were in the room.
No, I wasn't.
But the government's response to that review is expected in the early part of 2024, and I think that I'm not going to in a position here to preempt any of the outcomes of that, but more broadly, of course, we expect that all of the procurement across defence represents value for money for the Australian public. We are in a very challenging strategic environment, and that means that we need to use the resources that we have well. And that is a project that is underway, and we've talked quite a lot today about the work that's been going on across the department and across the ADF to make sure that that is the case. Okay,
thank you. Got 2 questions on Adecco. Defence has entered into contract CN3923195 with Adecco Australia for consulting on personnel recruitment. This is a $1.3 billion contract. I can't recall coming across a bigger contract during my time in Parliament. Defence entered into the contract on 27th of October 2022. What was Defence's headcount on that date when the contract started?
Senator Lieutenant General Fox, can you just confirm the date that you asked that question? Sorry, I was coming to the table.
Yes, Defence entered. That's fine. Defence entered into this contract on 27th of October 2022. What was Defence's headcount on that date?
That contract was signed on the 22nd of October, but did not take operative effect until the 1st of July this year, Senator.
What was the headcount then?
In October?
Yes.
I'll have to get that for you from October headcount timeframe.
And also when the contract started, please.
As at the end of financial year 22-23, the average funded strength was 58,642.
What does funded strength mean?
That's the funded strength that the department has. It's the average taken over people coming in and out each pay for the average funded strength that we have. It's not a head count, it's very close to it, but it's the funded strength.
Okay. So it's now 2024. What's the latest head count for defence personnel?
Senator, Lieutenant General Fox, Chief of Personnel, can I answer that again in AFS construct. So
Yes.
So the average funded strength is 58,427.
So you've gone down by 215.
Yes, Senator.
So we've had a deco in place now for 7 months.
Yes, Senator.
So we've gone backwards.
Yes, Senator.
And we're going to pay them $1.3 billion.
That's for the life of the contract, Senator, but the performance management framework will determine what they are paid in accordance with the performance of the contractor.
Could you tell me, last question, Chair, could you tell me something about or describe the performance pays provisions?
Senator, yes, I'll defer to my colleague to provide you an indication around the performance management framework.
Senator, Major General Wade Stothart, Head Military Personnel. There are a series of performance indicators, performance measures and health indicators for this contract. We are transitioning from a centralised model of recruiting to a decentralised model of recruiting in difficult circumstances. The three major key performance indicators for this contract is the volume of target achievement, the velocity by which we can take an application and then issue a letter of offer to a candidate, and thirdly, the timeliness and quality of the deliverables we receive from a deco to ensure that we are seeing the business intelligence of their system. The contract, noting that there is some contracting confidence measures, are assessed quarterly, and there are at-risk amounts tied to the achievements for them to acquire the targets linked to incentive payments, and the value of those payments are contractually in confidence. There are another layer of assessments.
Are you able to tell us a percentage?
No, I don't think I can, and I don't have that with me at the moment. I would need to take that to confirm what I could share. I could talk about the performance measures and the health indicators, but I don't want to underestimate the scale of the difficulty of the transition from a model that over a long period of time was not delivering the volume or the velocity that we needed in our recruiting, and in the difficult shift to a new model that we still have confidence in will deliver with some adjustments what we need. It is a difficult process that we've asked Adecco to go through. They've had to pick up a model that was not theirs, the previous contracted arrangement which the Commonwealth Defence Force recruiting was running, and shift it through a transition period to get to their preferred model, the model that we selected as the preferred model of recruiting through that procurement process.
So, excuse me, are you designing the process and they're implementing it, or are they involved in the designing too?
I could defer to Chief of Personnel for a detailed answer on that question, Senator.
Senator, Chief of Personnel, Lieutenant General Fox. The model that was selected, the Commonwealth went out to tender for innovation in delivering volume, the speed of recruiting and the care of candidates. And we had a number of tenderers come in, and then there was a competitive tender evaluation process, and Adecco's model and their data and the solution was evaluated to be the best in that period of time against the tenders for what Defence was requiring in terms of volume, care and speed to recruiting. And
process. Okay, last question on that. Yes. Mr Stothard, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your rank.
It's okay. Major General.
Major General.
Major General. You've mentioned that there's a need for dramatically increased volume or velocity, I think was your word. Why is that? Is that because retention is decreasing?
Senator, there's a various number of reasons. We need to achieve our targets more consistently than we've done previously, and the speed it takes us to conduct our recruitment processes needs to be shorter, much shorter. We know that the target demographics of young and not so young Australians that may have some propensity to join the ADF have more choices around employment, study, travel now than they've had previously. and speed of offer to those candidates is key.
What's the attrition in the armed forces at the moment?
Senator Lieutenant General Natasha Fox. 1st of January it was 10.1%. CDF mentioned this morning in his opening statement as at 1 February it's 10%.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Chair.
You're most welcome.